Hey everybody, Mark from Northeast Bass Fishing. How you doing? I wanted to get this video up before I went away to the Candlewood Camp, which is I'm going to be up there for the next 2 weeks on Lake Champlain. Can't wait. Should be a lot of fun. So I wanted to get these clips. I went fishing the other day. Excuse me. Took the big boat out, local lake, and the way the way this day started, I thought it was going to be great, and then it turned into kind of a dink derby. So I'm fishing this point with a pop bar. And as you can see, I like to throw my pop bars. That's just a spinning rod, medium. I think it's a 7.3. I think that's an ardent rod, ardent reel, 10-pound mono as my line. And I'm throwing that live target popper out, which I don't even know if they make those poppers anymore, but they made those bait ball, whatever they call them, pop bars, and I love it, and especially on clear water. So I'm just throwing it on this point, and I've been fishing about 15 or 20 minutes. Nothing really much going on. And I catch this nice largie, which when he first jumped, I thought it was a smallie, but I catch this nice largie on the pop bar. So I'm thinking, okay, it's an overcast day. Should be good, some good topwater action here. So he was a decent fish. I don't He was in that, 2.5, 3 pound range. And a few minutes later, same point, still throwing that pop bar, and I get another bass. And then after this, as you guys are going to see, it really becomes a dink derby. It was just little fish after little fish after little fish. And I got like these little 5, 10, 12, 15-second clips of just all these little fish that I caught the rest of the day. Caught a lot of fish, but I just could not get any bigger fish going. When it got later in the day, it got a little brighter before it poured on me, which you'll see at the end of this video. It's not really that long. I think it's 11 or 12 minutes long. This is another decent largie. So, at this point, a half hour into the day, I'm thinking, okay, the largemouth are biting. The decent-sized largemouth are biting. Should be a good day. And, as far as numbers go, it was a good day. You can't, always, determine what the size of the fish are that they're going to bite. But the way it started, it was great. It's great. You see some waves coming. There were some guys out there water skiing. And so it was another decent bass. Nice largie there. Actually, I think I'm wrong. I think that's the same fish. It's just a different angle of it. Here's a close up of that fish. Another nice largie. Here's the second one, which is a little smaller. It's still a decent fish. You can see that point. You'll see the fish hit the pop bar. And this is the last really decent. A couple of the fish that I caught, as you'll see later, maybe they might have been 12 inches, but that's really pushing it, I think. And it did get hot, as the day went on. It got windy, but that was just because a storm was coming. As pretty much every day of fishing, it seems like this year, at some point in the day, you're going to get rained on. But this was another nice, decent largie. That's just a close-up view, and here's the farther view of that same fish where he hits right about here. I'm surprised I cut off me pulling that fish out of the water, but it doesn't really matter. I think you saw it I kind of just have it in the opposite order. I just kind of threw all these clips together, so some things might not be in quite the right order. But you guys get the idea. And I maybe should have spent some more. I was on this point for a while. Maybe I should have worked it even longer before I moved on. And seen if I could have gotten any more largies to come up. But I don't know where the smallies were. And this is a fairly deep, clear water lake. Water temps were like 79, 80 degrees. So excuse me. So the water is warm. But the way that it started out on this point, it was great. I thought it was going to be a great day. And like I said, it wasn't a bad day. It was it was a numbers day, not a size day. So these two you see on the pop bar there, these two are the best fish of the day, right off the bat. So at least I'm getting bit. And I was throwing flukes around. I was throwing the pop bar, throwing the net around some of the rocks. And I'm back now. I go all the way back into this. Now these clips are going to be very short. I just go back. There's this little canal that goes back. There's a lot of boats parked there. It's very shallow. And I went back to the frog. I think I might have had one blow up or zero. I can't even remember. I don't think I got any. So this is just a couple of views of the same fish. This little guy that bit on the pop bar back here. And the water is was starting to get a little calmer out, which I like to have a little bit of chop. But back here where I am on this lake, it's really shallow. It's like, 2 feet, and even with the water high, like past the, if you went straight ahead past that house, is where the dam is, and the water was just ripping out, obviously from having so much rain. So you can see that size largemouth there. That's kind of what it was like the rest of the day. A lot of little dinks, those 9, 10, a couple of them might have been pushing 12 inches. But you can see I'm just starting a drop shot here. And I caught a lot of fish on the drop shot. And a lot of these little bass, just one after another. And you can see these clips are going to be short. I just kind of spliced them all together, one after another, and I was in like, anywhere from 10 to 20, 25 feet, just trying to find some bigger fish, but I just could not, get on to a bigger fish bite. And I'm just working this shoreline, and it's just one. It might have been a rock bass there. There was some rock bass, that bit. There was some smallies, like really like 8-inch smallies. You might see that. I think that's a rock bass. Yeah, it's just a rocky right there. Starting to get hot out. Figure if I can't catch a big fish, I'll get a tan. So we're gonna do that for a little while. But it was just these little fish were just biting, one after another, and I just kind of spliced, the ones that I got. There was a lot of them that just popped right off. That one there was a little better. He might have been 10 inches. And I was throwing that Somatis shot. I was throwing the flatworm. They didn't seem to mind what kind of drop shot bait I used. The little guys were eating it. Now, maybe there was just so many small fish down there, they were kind of beating the bigger fish to it. I don't know. The big fish are, I'm assuming, and as I said, I'm new to these lakes. This is probably, I've only fished this lake a couple other times in the summer. And I was anticipating it would, be tough kind of getting on them, better fish. I've been there in the summer, and it's been a lot of suspended fish. And you could see suspended fish on the graph. So that one was a little better. But I was just working along this shoreline. Sometimes it was right next to the boat. I'd drop it down, and boom, somebody'd be on it. Another little guy. There's a little better view of him. That might be a little smallie. I can't really tell. Yeah, that might have been a little smallie there. But no big fish. No big fish. And, I fished this whole shoreline down. And every time, when the bass first hits, you're like, oh, this is a decent, and then you realize it's not. It's another rock. I think there was another rock bass there. Or a bluegill, one or the other. One of the best fighting fish you'll see was a bluegill or pumpkin seed. I think I took a picture of them. I don't know if I added it to the end of the video or not, but I'll use it as the screenshot for the title page for the video on YouTube here. But I was just working down this shoreline, which is a shoreline I like to jerkbait in the spring. And that might be the bluegill there. Yep. No, that's a bass. But it was just, and here I am now going up the other shoreline. I'm throwing a fluke, and I'm still getting bit. And there was a lot of bites along here that would come up and hit it, and then they're probably just too small. They couldn't even get hooked. They would get off. So they were tiny fish. So you guys get the idea. It was just it was fun. I got a lot of bites, but just finding those bigger fish. I still have to figure the lake out. Where those big fish are. I'm assuming those big fish are probably suspended. I just have to figure out. I wanted to go out and throw a football head jig around. You can see there it's getting windy, and they're starting to see. You see the storms coming, and you see the rain here, and it started slow, and then it just started pouring. Like I was going to leave, and then when I got back to the ramp, it stopped, and then it got really hot, and so I fished around by the ramp a little bit, but I just caught more small fish. I didn't even put the camera back on. I drove up. You can kind of see the tip on the left side of the screen, that island up there. I drove towards the island, and it was absolutely pouring. And I didn't bring the cameras back out after that. And as I said, I was going to leave, but I wound up just staying for another hour or so. Figured I'd give it a shot, and it was just more small fish on the drop shot. Some on the fluke. I was throwing the pop bar around because there was fish actually busting, but I couldn't get anything to bite. This lake has some scattered weeds. I would flip them. When I got near him, I'd go flip him. When I got into him, you see the water starting to get on the camera here. So this is when I finally said, okay, this is going to get a little heavy. So I got my raincoat on and put the one camera away, and it's like, okay, it's time to get the back camera and put that away too. I don't want it to be out in the pouring rain. So you see, I was working towards that. My plan was to fish towards that, and there's a lot of humps and shoals. I was going to go throw a football head jig, maybe crank them a little bit, try some other stuff, but the weather was not cooperating. And then after it poured, it was like dead calm, so it made it even tougher. So I think I fished till probably 2:30, and I pulled the boat out. And this is just me driving up before I put the camera away. You can see how it's starting to rain harder and harder. When I get to the island, I had already put the camera away. It was pouring. It was pouring. So that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know how many videos I'll get in, or if I'll get any in while I'm away. I don't know what the service is going to be like up there and things like that. But I'll end this with this nice picture of this bluegill because he was just so pretty. I mean, what a beautiful fish. He really pulled harder than some of the bass. So that's it, guys. So I will see you soon on YouTube. Mark out.